We are live. We are doing the first test broadcast with Mr. Sheldon Norberg. And today we're going to spend a half hour and we're going to talk about, I don't know what. What are we going to talk about, Sheldon?
I'm, when I'm talking to you, Bill, it's mostly talking about drugs. I talk about anything with you, Bill, but it seems to be drugs are the topic for the hour.
Yeah, well, no, for the half hour, by the way. And by the way,
better chop that line.
Yeah, you know what? I was just talking to Michael Baldwin the other day, and men think about sex every 17 seconds. So how often
those are
do you
slow
think
ones.
people think about drugs?
Every 18 seconds.
That's right. That's right.
I can see you.
Because your life is sex and drugs and not really rock and roll. But I
see you hitting the coffee mug the minute I said that. You were, there you go.
Okay. Yeah, I have. So, why don't we just start there? Since this is the first show, why don't we start there and say what are drugs? You know what? How generally and specifically and
extremely important question. I usually define a drug. I mean, a drug can be any kind of plant. I think in this culture, I tend to discuss them as any kind of refined substance or manufactured substance that causes acute or prolonged changes in physiology or neurological activity. So essentially, anything that you might consume that changes the way you feel on a body or mental level, it could be construed as a drug.
And it's not necessarily consume. You can be injected. You can be in.
Well, there are the 5 routes of administration. Those are always an important topic. You can breathe. I mean, you're breathing things. Some credible article came out recently or last year that breathing other people's farts may have health benefits.
I totally think that.
Well, yeah, it's a good thing to think. Certainly improves your life quality when you think that breathing these farts is actually going to make you healthier.
Let me before you go on, because I have this huge theory that I think that we have screwed up this culture by our cleanliness deal, and I think that actually dropping food on the floor and picking it up and eating it might lead to a more healthy lifestyle because you're at least exposing yourself to the stuff, and your body's figuring out how to deal with it. And I think there's quite a bit of research that supports
I've been to your house, Bill, and I can tell that you are a practicing theorist.
Okay, we're not going to let my wife see the show.
No.
Actually, one of the big issues is why don't I pick up the coffee? See, I spilled it again.
You spilled it. I took a bite off a banana today, and I was trying to throw the peel in the compost, and the last chunk fell down on the carpet. And I picked it up, and there was a hair on there, so I rinsed it off. I mean, my fear of germs like coming into my body from whatever source laying around, very minimal. I think that we have body systems that promote our health, that maintain our homeostasis, that protect us from illness. I mean, certain places, there's like clean dirt and there's dirty dirt. You don't want to eat dirt that's full of dog crap or whatever, but stuff that's just.
But I don't think dog crap is that bad either.
Well, that's your decision.
I know that's a huge leap, but I think that the drug dangers are way more hidden than that.
Dog crap's a known tetanus vector, but So if we go away from drugs as from my drug information standpoint and into drugs as medicines or to talking about drugs that prevent illness, well, we look at what we've done with the antibiotic industry and this huge dependence that we've brought ourselves onto antibiotics because, oh, we don't want to get sick, oh, we don't want to get an illness, we don't want to let our body react and have a fever or do whatever the things that it would do to normally fight an illness. And now we have abused, as a culture, antibiotics to such a degree that they have no potency whatever, and that these militant superbugs, the MRSA, the resistant, antibiotic-resistant bacteria, are unstoppable. They're all over the place. They're on every doctor's cell phone, and they will kill you. They will eat your flesh and kill you,
right?
Because we've made them stronger by making them fight all these antibiotics instead of just letting our bodies do the job.
Right. What MRSA? The word MRSA. You used the word MRSA. What does that mean? MRSA. You said
MERSA. It's ME resistant Staphylococcus aureus. So the Staphylococcus aureus is a certain kind of bacteria, and it's I forget. I'm not a doctor. The ME is a certain kind of. This is a group of antibiotics that don't hurt it. They're the strongest. The methylated or something antibiotics.
Oh, okay, so what? So I think this is a fairly well-known deal that the
it's huge.
That the antibiotics are getting on top of it, and what is?
There's like one doctor,
I mean, what's the enlightened?
This voice in the wilderness doctor, you hear him on sort of left of center radio saying, "Yeah, I wrote this book 12 years ago about how MRSA was coming and it was going to be a problem, and then 8 years ago I went before Congress and said MRSA is here and it's a problem." And very little funding, very little attention. It's in all these hospitals. I don't know if you just read about the thing about UCLA, all the people dying who had sterile packaged tubing inserted in their throats to look into their stomachs.
I saw that.
And that tubing had one of these powerful, unstoppable staph infections on it from its manufacturer. And it was inserted in these people, and boom.
The manufacturer?
Yeah, it came dirty, and they had some complaint. I don't know. I haven't researched it totally. I don't want to go, over my head here on a topic I'm not fully researched on. But yeah, so we had several cases of people.
This is a good. Wait. This is a good example of what I think we can accomplish and do in this show, because that's something I read in the newspaper, I followed, and I went, what the hell am I going to do? I mean, you got to go to the hospital. What is? I mean, and just bullshitting about it. What is the citizen? Me? I don't want to. How do I protect myself? Just not go to the hospital?
Well, that's probably the best thing you can do. It's pretty well documented that everyone who goes into the hospital dies at some point. You say that about a lot of things. The deaths by iatrogenic disease, deaths that people get, illnesses that they acquire in hospitals and then die from, hundreds of thousands of people a year. It's huge, and it's because it's a place where people are sick and dying and bleeding on the floor, and cleaning that all up and sanitizing it all the time. You are probably much better off eating an old piece of toast that you found on the floor in your house regularly to stimulate your own immune reaction to protect you from getting one of these kind of illnesses.
Well, but then how do I? Okay.
And I am not a medical professional.
So what do I do about not going to the hospital?
This is just my opinion.
Yeah, well, I know, but that's why we're doing the show, is because I want somebody besides, I mean, you call the Kaiser, I'm in Kaiser, you call them, and pretty much anything that's abnormal, they said, come on down.
Oh, yeah.
And I go on down, and I think that obviously you can protect yourself and try to do as much healthy stuff as possible. But when you do get to the hospital, is there anything you can do except?
There's a lot of helpful people in hospitals. There's a lot of committed
Yeah, talk to me
doctors,
about
but
that.
we live in a for-profit medical culture, unlike any that has ever existed. So it pays their rent for you to come down for any little thing, and it pays their rent to be giving you drugs that are provided by the pharmaceutical industry.
Right.
That pays the rent. So the more drugs you take, the more money they make. The more drugs you take, the more the doctor makes. The more surgeries that you get, the more the doctor makes. And the more I'm studying sort of antithetical medicine, these classic doctors who found that diet is so much more essential than medicines in terms of heart care. That I was just reading this piece in the Atlantic the other day about this one doctor who's a medical statistician. He's a trained doctor and a statistics guy, and he's just spent his whole career reviewing medical studies and finding that there's a whole mathematical formula about how faulty they are, and that 40 of them are faulty because of bad assumptions that the researcher wanted to prove, and 20% of them just had generalized mistakes, and 10% of them were actually proactively misleading. But all
We're
of
talking
the
about
studies.
drugs.
Well, we're talking about all the studies that go into why you get a drug. There's drugs the studies that say this drug is safe or that this drug should be used are created by people with vested interests in promoting those drugs, in promoting that vision of medicine, in maintaining their highly paid lab at a university, which is funded by a pharmaceutical company. That these drivers have created this medicalized culture, which is incapable of seeing its own turning away from science as a real study of what's happening, and into using science as a tool to promote a particular worldview that is extremely profitable to them.
Okay, so me, I'm a citizen. I get some kind of something that I can't quite. I got a headache and I got nosebleeds, and I go into the hospital and I meet with the doctor, and I have and they assess my situation, and they prescribe this. Now, as a citizen, as a person, I know I can Google, so I Google the drug. And do you have any immediate websites or resources that you think that would be good to start that kind of search on? Because we can't
the PDR is
screw you. We have to sort of work with the doctor, and obviously information is the key.
Right, but and then the bells are ringing. The first thing you want to do is read the package insert.
Keep talking. I'll be right back.
And what I'm seeing in with a lot of medicines is that the package insert tells you right away that you may suffer all of these different side effects. You may suffer. I mean, there's some statins. Okay, so here's a drug of the week. All right, statins.
Yes.
You heard about statins a decade ago. My buddy was the head
Start with statin. But no, before you say statin, I know the word statin. I hear the word statin, but it immediately doesn't pop into my brain what it's for. I think it's for my heart or something.
Yeah. Wow, you haven't been to the doctor in a while. Well, statins were the darling of the heart medicine community when they came out, because they're supposed to flush all this cholesterol out of your heart. And everybody's like, wow, I can just live my, beef-eating, pork-loving lifestyle and eat these statins and my heart will be repaired. Yeah. Well, 10 years later...
Okay, say that again. I want to get this right. So a statin, it's a statin, not satin. It's not satin. Satin is a cloth. A statin was a drug that they came up with, and they tested. They went through the FDA, and what you're saying is that it was designed to go in and crumble up your cholesterol and flush it out? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah. It relieves cholesterol in the heart,
Yeah,
and
so it would go in and it would dissolve the cholesterol and it would shoot it out your heart going out system. I mean, there's no exit from your blood system, so it just so basically it would dissolve it so the liquid goes into your pee somehow. I mean,
yeah, it breaks down in your system.
yeah.
But
Okay, so I don't
now
mean to
now
cut
it's
you off,
turned
right?
out that
That's weird.
now it turns out that there's really adverse side effects, and even if you had read the instructions to begin with, it says that it can damage your liver, or that it actually,
Yeah,
it's
right.
likely to damage your liver. I mean, if you just read the instructions that come with any drug, you'll find that it's likely for a lot of, any kind of powerful drug, that it's going to have a very off-balancing effect on your other organs.
Right. That's okay. So that's the key. Every drug, and this is one of the things about why we're doing this show, is that every drug has some impact,
Well,
major or
I
minor.
studied
And so it's just
Chinese medicine, for years, and that kind of that really informed my view, my worldview. And my Chinese doctor was always telling us, well, in Chinese medicine, there's two brains, and the brain in your head is really just this kind of useless kind of extra organ, and the brain in your gut is what's really running the show. And everybody's like, yeah, okay, brain in your gut, okay, that's Chinese, right?
right.
Well, one day she comes in with a New York Times article saying, wow, researchers have revealed that the nerve bundles in the abdominal cavity
Right.
carry more neurons than the brain. Right there. You got more nerves in your guts communicating between your organs and your digestive
Right.
system than you do. So you talk about the whole chi cord, that whole principle that you're, walking from your belly, or that's the energy center of the body. That is more actively communicating with your whole body than your brain, which is doing a bunch of kind of other different higher function stuff.
Right.
Now the fact is then, because all the neurotransmitters are the same between what's going on in your gut and what's going on in your brain, that anytime you release a neurotransmitter, okay, you want a painkiller, you want to do a bunch of opiates to, mollify the pain in your body, it's going to go to your brain, it's going to kill the pain here somewhere. Well, it's going to go to your gut and tell it to slow down, and you're not going to be able to crap for days or weeks or whatever, it's kind of instant reaction. Opiates cause constipation. You look on the list and they'll say, yeah, these opiates will cause constipation. They're going to kill your pain, but they're going to cause this other effect. Any drug that you take is going to be working on these two different systems. The on an organ system that is in relationship to those particular neurotransmitters, and on a neural network that's in relationship to the brain function.
Right. Right.
And you don't realize that going in, and then all of a sudden, oh, my heart feels better, but I feel weird. And in relation between all the organs, which Western medicine doesn't even have an inkling about, is the whole basis of Chinese medicine, that the organs are all they're all working together, and all of a sudden you want to stop something here, well, that's going to dam up this over here and cause this reaction. Mm-hmm. So it's very
so I can be informed. I can look up my drug immediately, like you said. I can say, okay, this can do this, this, and this, and then I just have to be aware of that. But I want to go back. So statins, the thing that cleans up the cholesterol. I was given that because I stopped taking them a long time ago because I don't know why I stopped taking them, but obviously some level of my brain was saying, hey, this doesn't feel very good. But so somehow my body was telling me that. But there are zillions of people taking this stuff for the cholesterol, right? I mean, it became a fad, or I don't know. How do you do?
I mean, I'm just looking through a screen full of stuff on statins, and I don't even see this article that just came out about how they really have a problem. But there's liver damage in statins.
Can you switch to that?
Memory impairment.
Can you try showing that screen, Sheldon? I mean, we're still testing this. So I have a screen up here, but I haven't quite figured out how to do it. So if anybody's watching the show right now or on demand, we're still trying stuff. I think if you just go mind sharing, but because I just tried to do it in the Saturday morning live show, and honest to God, I had it all set up to screen share so I could talk about it to the audience, and it wouldn't go. So are you clicking on it and it won't go, right?
No, I'm getting you. I'm getting you on my screen share.
Yeah. Yeah, but we're gonna have to try to figure this out.
I got two screens up, so it's kind of tricky. I'm not sure.
Oh yeah, that might be it. You might need another. You might need two. You might need a dual screen system like I have here to screen share the other screen. But at this point, I think what.
Wait, I think I see it now. Is it on me now?
Ah, yeah. It was there. It was there. Could you do that again?
Yeah. So I'm in it now. So statin function problems. I gotta find this. Statin, weigh the benefits and risks, adverse side effects, the sleep problems, sexual function problems, fatigue, dizziness.
That's good.
Liver enzymes, muscle problems, increased risk of diabetes, liver damage to statins. May improve erectile function in this one. FDA changes the health and safety information on statins. High dose statins linked to acute.
For erectile dysfunction, you don't have to buy one of those drugs they advertise in all the commercials for all the old people, like myself, right? It might be just that you got to stop taking your cholesterol medicine so you can start having sex with your wife again.
Well, that's part of the deal. It's all about what you eat and how you take care of yourself.
Right.
In the Chinese medicine world, there's two causes of illness, and that's food and your emotions.
Right. Food and your emotions.
Yeah. That's what gets to you.
I hate to keep referring to Chinese medicine because it's got a bad rap because it's Chinese. It's like.
I think that's like the best thing.
Kung Fu and I see ancient people.
I don't know.
So I see Kung Fu and I see them smoking pots. Smoke, and I see McCabe and Mrs. Miller. I don't know. But I don't know. I don't think I'm different than other people, but I think that we need to keep referring. I think it's good, and I think people should go there. But I think it's a combination. It's you personally taking your information and getting enlightened about moving forward on this, and not just embracing the Chinese.
That's the whole deal. Is your Chinese doctor is trying to teach you to take care of your health. It's all about personal responsibility. Your Chinese doctor can do really fantastic things to, pull you out of whatever situation and help you repair your body. But mostly, they're a real job. There's the three kinds of Chinese doctor. There's somebody who uses acupuncture to heal their patients. That's the lowest grade of Chinese doctor. The higher grade of Chinese doctor knows how to use herbs to heal their patients. Mm-hmm. But the supreme Chinese doctor knows how to teach their patients to stay healthy.
Mm-hmm. Right.
That's the key.
Okay. So do you have an instant book that I can read called Chinese, Chinese Health for Dummies or something? Or maybe next week.
There are a few good Chinese medicine books out there. I have to go look at my bookshelf. I've sort of been, I've been studying drugs for the last decade and not as much in Chinese medicine. And the kind of standard book that was out for a long time was kind of complicated. It's a complicated study, and if it's not really put together well, it's.
Well, why don't we put it on the back burner, and next
Put
week...
it on the back burner, because I can go out and look at my other bookshelf and
start with that. We'll say, hey, if you want to be interested, you want to find out about Chinese medicine, this is the book. And okay. The other thing we're going to try to do as we move forward here is have people send in questions. And I have a question here.
Well, it's funny because we went completely off topic today, so I'm sort of like, okay. I just wanted to get back to our original topic before it washes away.
What was the original topic?
Well, I think you were asking about what is NIDA, or what is the National Institute on Drug Abuse have to
Yes,
say?
that's right. And wait a minute, I'm going to try to show that screen if I can do it, because I have that screen up. But see, I don't know
No,
why.
it was National Drug Week. I had that screen
Yeah,
up. It's
National
National
Drug
Drug
Week.
Week.
Okay, so I'm trying to screen share now, but I can't. Anyway, National Drug Week. So yeah, let's
Yes, the
finish up
National
with that.
Drug
I
Week
want
was
to ask
last
you a
week.
question. Tell me. It was like, and that was the lead story. I was going to show that. I'll figure this out next time. But because but what is the National Drug Week and who puts it on? And
Well, I find that
tell me
pretty
the truth,
comical.
Mr. Sheldon Norberg.
I mean,
You are my enlightened drug person that
as
is
an
going
old
to lead
as
us
an
into
old
the future.
dealer, back when I was dealing, it would have been National Drug Week, and like,
Right,
but
right.
so
Just National Drug Week every week here.
right, so NIDA, the
Used to be.
National Institute on Drug Abuse, is the main organization in the U.S. And they push their platform, worldwide. Their mission is to lead the nation in bringing the power of science to bear on drug abuse and addiction. So for NIDA, the problem is that they define every kind of drug use as drug abuse. They don't have a scale of drug use that accepts, use here, problematic use here, drug abuse here. It's any drug that they have defined as a problem drug, which is every drug that they're not making money off of.
Right. Wow.
If you use it, that's drug abuse.
And
And
who? Go
if
ahead.
you look historically, every drug that's come down the line has been wildly profitable and excessive or used excessively, binged on until it came to some sort of crashing decision where it was made illegal through prohibition or pushed out of circulation. But we understand now what we're seeing. What we've known for a long time is that the prohibition model doesn't work. We found that out with alcohol. It's impossible to prohibit substances, particularly which have been around for centuries or thousands of years, and which people enjoy. People will seek them out and people will use them. So that this model, that all drug use is drug abuse, and is a completely mistaken and unenlightened model. And that is what informs all of the information that comes from our government and from NIDA and the National Institutes of Health. They don't fund any research whatsoever on drug use that is not based on harm to the individual or society.
Wow.
So there's nothing. So they don't want to find out if marijuana has any benefits. They don't want to find out if using any of these drugs could be reasonable. They don't want to find out if safe injection centers make things healthy. They don't want to find out that Portugal legalized all drugs 15 years ago and had a complete decline in murder rate and addiction and public health problems and everything else. They only want scary advertisements and say that the drugs that they don't sell are bad for you and will ruin your life and make you a terrible person. And they don't want to understand that huge number of people actually use drugs relatively moderately, sometimes bingingly, but get up and go to work and lead productive lives and do everything else that everyone else does, and that they have created a massive prison complex and a problem, drug abuse situation through their manipulating information. And it comes back to this, well, we're only going to choose to fund science that proves our point. And we're going to accept studies which are flawed and mistaken, and poorly conducted, and actually purposefully faulty in order to prove our point, because that's what's paying our salaries, and that's what we get our juice from.
Okay, so we're done. We're at the end of the half hour. We're going to talk about the war on drugs next week. We're going to start right there from day one. I'll have a question, and thank you so very much, that was Mr. Sheldon Norberg, and we're going to find out about how to be enlightened about drugs over the next 2,000 episodes. Thanks, Sheldon.
Thanks, Bill.
Alligator.
Yeah, I got some buzz on this line. So